Well, hello and welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation. I'm your host, Peter Greenlaw. And for all the sensors out there, we're very, very cautious about staying within your community guidelines. That's why everything that we state is from medical proof that's available to the public. So everything we talk about is not a claim. They can go and look it up for themselves. We've written 4 best-selling books to some of the top medical doctors in the world, over 1,500 live lectures around the world. I've appeared 20 times on public broadcasting. So everything that we do, we're very, very cognizant of our reputation. Our reputation is for giving people the truth and giving people medical proof. We don't give opinions, hyperbole. We don't make outrageous claims. Everything that we're telling people is 100% safe and has been vetted by the top medical experts in the entire world. Well, hello and welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation. Maybe you heard part of that. So Mary, Remy, and Dee, and Jan, and C. Rini, etc. So let's establish what this is. This is not some just typical video. This is a podcast, okay? I've been working as a nutritional researcher for more than 23 years. I've written 4 best-selling books from the top medical doctors in the world and over 1,500 live lectures around the world in hospitals and universities and towns even. And what we are devoted here to is to bring you this revolutionary new approach. It took over 40, we didn't develop it. No, let me be clear. It's not a diet. It's not about weight loss. It's a detox. It's not only is it a detox, it's the only one that's out there that's really been proven in terms of blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. The side effect is weight loss. Although you'd look at this and think either it's unsafe, it's unreal, we photoshopped it, we didn't do anything. But how many of you, if you're honest, if you wanted to lose 20 pounds, this is open, this is live, this isn't pre-recorded. So I'm always asking my audiences, how many of you, or how long would you give yourself to lose 20 pounds on any diet? She was not allowed to exercise. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they didn't exercise. Now, why was that? Because the researchers didn't want exercise to be part of it. So this was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They'd done 100 studies over 40 years, analyzing pretty much every kind of diet, calories in, calories out, macros, fasting, you name it. And sadly, after 40 years, they came to one conclusion. They'd never found a diet in 40 years that ever had people lose weight and keep it off long term. What's sad to say is from 1990 until 2025, the obesity rates in this country have doubled. So does that sound like diets are working? And one thing I will tell you about the New Health Conversation is so different. We only deal in medical proof. We do not give you opinions. Our opinions, my opinion, shouldn't mean anything to you. What matters are this protocol is now published and recognized in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. They're called peer-reviewed human trial studies. They're done on human beings. They're not done in a laboratory or mice, rats, monkeys, whatever. They're done on human beings. There's nothing higher in medical proof. You will not find another influencer, at least that I've seen, anywhere on social media that have one shred of medical evidence. And a lot of them have a lot of fancy titles and a lot of stuff, and they're writing on whiteboards, and they get all this, they're confusing you. If what they had was what they're saying it is, they'd want to have a peer-reviewed human trial study. Now, why wouldn't they do that? Because the claims that they're making are what are called unsubstantiated, meaning they can't be backed up. We're going to show you stuff today. It'll probably make you mad, but we're here to help you. We're here. Our job is not to sell you. There's no products, by the way. What you're going to learn, there were no products involved here. This is based on food and new ways of consuming food that these researchers figured out after 40 years. But look at the success. Look at this. She's only one example. I'm going to show you 3 more, and then I promise I'll come back and I'll explain to you exactly what she did and what you can do. One of the things we've done, no matter what, see right above her head there in blue, the New Health Conversation. Do you see that? If you type that into Google, that will take you to the website. There are no links on here. You can, the search you do at Google, the New Health Conversation, it'll take you to the website. And there's nothing on that website except medical proof. Now, if you're really serious about your health, spend a little bit of time and go there. Here's the thing. If you go to the website, we're not going to contact you. We don't do that. But I'd love for anybody, for example, one of the big fallacies out there is this thing about calories in, calories out. It's been completely debunked. It's just nonsense. Can anybody give me the definition of a calorie? If you, at any point, put it in the chat. In a year's time, I've done 1,000 podcasts I do 3 to 5 a day, 7 days a week. Do the math. I've had 9 people that have ever actually given me the medical definition of a calorie. Now, to be honest, I didn't know what a calorie was 24 years ago. It didn't matter. I didn't care. But you're going to care when you learn what we're going to teach you today. So these other people, you take a look here at Julie, that's not Photoshop. She lost 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at the change in her body composition with no exercise. You can think it's Photoshop, but if you think it's Photoshop, then you shouldn't be on this podcast. You think somehow we're lying to you or making things up or it's BS. It's not. No, it's real. It's backed by medical science, okay? And then this is the daughter of a friend of mine. Hey, Bob. This is the daughter of a friend of mine. And you can see, well, a lot of people think it's a different woman. It's the same woman. Look at on the left. Look at her face. Look at her arms. Look at her body. And then this one, you know, when you get older, you're not supposed to be able to lose weight, right? How about this, everybody? How about 40.8 pounds, 52.5 inches in 30 days? Least important part of his story. Look at his blood work. His A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides, 242 to 124. Now, you can think it's fake. You can think we photoshopped it. You can think it's photo hacked. But why we don't need to do that. The reason we don't need to do it is I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the website right now. So you just simply type in Google the new health conversation. Don't you think we need one? That's what this is all about. This is a podcast. It's not an infomercial. I don't think there's anything else like it. I haven't seen yet on social media. There's the website. Nothing to buy. The only thing there is the medical proof, including number 1 is an exclusive interview with the number 1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the entire world. Look at that. 3, the actual See, here's what we don't do. We don't hide anything from you. I see some of these sites, you have to pay them money to get recipes, then you get a coach. No, that doesn't work. You get to see, let me show it to you again. So right above our head there in blue, that's what I typed in, the new health conversation. There's nothing to buy there. It's absolutely free to go. The girl in the white dress. Let's see. Hold on just a second. That's the daughter of a friend of mine. Why does that matter? I'm just curious. The girl in the white dress, who is she? I'm just wondering why you're asking the question. It's fine. It's cool. Okay, now let's go. But let's come back, and now let's come back, because I know all of you are really impatient. I get it all the time. So just bear with me. I'll do my best to explain it to you in 2 or 3 minutes. But I don't think you want a 30-second answer to something that could change the rest of your life. By being on this podcast today, you have a chance to hit the do-over button. So first of all, let's talk about who invented this. This was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, rated number 1. And they'd done 100 studies over 40 years looking at every diet out there and concluded no diet ever worked long term. So something was wrong. And the biggest thing wrong was counting calories. Can any of you give me the definition of a calorie? I'm pretty sure with 9 people over in a year ever giving me the definition that most people have no idea what a calorie is, and yet you're all counting calories. I don't know why you're doing that, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that the researchers, based on the fact that no calorie counting diet ever worked, they said we got to do something different. Now it'll sound pretty simple, but here's the fact of life. You're alive because of 3 factors: air, water, and what? Nutrition. Not calories. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. Why you're counting calories, I don't know, because your body doesn't care about a calorie. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for more calories. You're hungry for more nutrition. So the researchers, their whole premise was, can we find foods where the number 1 criteria is large amounts of nutrition, but in smaller amounts of food? It'd be like if you go to the gas station and you had 2 pumps. Pump number 1 says this gallon will take you 20 miles, and the gallon that's pump number 2 says this gallon will take you 100 miles. So they look at food in North America, which they'd used for 40 years in their studies, organic, as the pump number 1, 20 miles to the gallon. What they were seeking was, could they find pump number 2 to give you 100 miles to the gallon? I know it's a simple, kind of silly analogy, but hopefully that'll make sense to all of you, right? Now, so what they did, they put together a grocery list that you would physically get. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, they're giving you serving sizes. Bob, that's why we need to do a little work on that, right? Anyway, that's an aside, everybody. That's one of my allies, friends, coaches is on with us this morning. That's great. But anyway, to make a long story short, those foods are in serving sizes, not calories. Now that's very, very important because again, what was the theory? In order to get you enough nutrition, could we give you the 100-mile-a-gallon gas? That was the theory. Well, 30% of what you're consuming comes from pump number 1, 20 miles to the gallon. But here's what saved the day. The researchers had found, these researchers, because they don't sell you anything, we don't sell you anything, but you buy directly from these researchers they've literally gone around the world for 20 years to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. So now they had the makings of the world's first nutritional system. Yeah, a system. Because it was going to be a combination, not just because it was a combination of 30% of the food from North America and 70% of the food from around the world. It was then using those foods with the higher level of nutrition, they could do something they'd never done before in terms of the way we consume food. So 5 days a week, she ate 4 times a day. She started with these, they call them they call it the world's most perfect meal from a nutritional standpoint of view. So no food from the grocery store, only these nutrients from around the world. Lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic, or the world's most perfect meals, right? So 5 days a week, you're having 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, now don't freak out when I tell you this. You do something called intermittent nutritional. Notice the word nutritional. Nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. It had never been tried before. Because the problem would be if you gave the body enough nutrition, it would take so much food, you wouldn't be fasting anymore. So they had the benefits of fasting. And on those days, no food from the grocery store, only these foods from around the world. But this time she was eating 8 times a day. Now, if you're diabetic, no, don't tell me about no insulin spikes. We had people that weigh 300 pounds. They weren't hungry. If I get nothing across to you today, except this, you were never hungry for a calorie. Your body has no idea what calories. When you're hungry, you're only hungry for one thing, nutrition. Is this making sense to everybody? Put a yes in there if this makes sense. If it doesn't, I guess you're on the wrong podcast. Then there's plenty of influences out there you can follow that'll give you a bunch of nonsense without any facts, without any medical backup. So in a month's time, they found hunger went down 41%. Blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all went down dramatically. And another huge thing they'd never seen in 40 years of research before. They measured inflammation. It came down 25% in a month. In case you didn't know, inflammation is an underlying contributing factor to every disease out there, according to the medical world. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or making any medical proclamations whatsoever. Now, here's the big one. They had done blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. And the secret's out. It's a detox. It's not a diet. And when they measured blood, stool, urine, fat, and so on, they proved that this protocol was a detox, and they could see the herbicides and the pesticides and the Scotch guard and things like PCBs that were leaving the body. The reason that you have the excess fat that so many of you complain to us about in terms of the weight is because your body, to protect you, when the chemical enters your body, the body has no choice. It takes it and has to do something with it. Because the immune system can't deal with chemicals, doesn't know what to do. So the body, to protect us, takes the chemical and stuffs it in your fat cells, and those fat cells expand. Please don't let anybody tell you burn fat on a diet or exercise. It's a total lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, but they can expand or contract. If you look at her stomach on day 1 and look at her stomach on day 30, there you go. So what happens, if you can remove the chemical from the fat cell will shrink. That's exactly what happened. That's with no exercise, by the way. Now, the reason they didn't want him to exercise was because then it would have been an outlier. Then you say, well, she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. No exercise at all. So anybody like to ask me a question on this moving forward? Now, what I want to prove to you, I don't need to prove anything to you. This protocol called R2M, race to maintenance, it got published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Now, you may not understand that, but let me explain it to you. A peer-reviewed human trial medical study. Number 1, it's done in human beings. Number 2, it's the highest level of scrutiny, examination, or validation we have in the medical world for like a drug or nutraceutical, whatever it is. If it goes through a peer-reviewed human trial study, then it becomes irrefutable medical proof. I had someone on my podcast before and said, well, you're 60% right and 40% false. Well, that shows me that that individual has no idea what a peer-reviewed human trial study means. When you have peer-reviewed human trial studies, it's what the medical world looks at as irrefutable medical proof. It's already been scrutinized. And the peer reviewers, they have one job, and that's to discredit what you're proving. That's why no drug would ever get approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study, thank goodness. I don't think we want the drug companies doing their own studies, and I'm not against drugs, so don't hear me say that. Thank God we have them, because we're at such a crisis. We're at a tipping point in civilization. Now, you may think that's a bold statement. Well, let's look at the facts. 2.5 billion people worldwide are now overweight, and 1 billion of those are clinically obese. And in the big study that did this in the Lancet, the #1 medical journal in the world, they said obesity now is the leading form of malnutrition in the world. What? Yeah, because they said the food is lacking the minerals, the nutrients, the botanicals necessary to support human health. See, the reason people become obese is there's a hormone, there's two hormones in your body, ghrelin, which tells you you're hungry, and leptin, which tells you you're full. Well, what's happening is the fact, because we're relying on processed food or whatever that has basically no nutrition, once your brain figures there's not enough nutrition, it goes in panic mode and stops immediately from you burning or using the fuel in your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel. So you slow down your metabolism. But what's happening to these people is they have insatiable appetites because their ghrelin is through the moon, because it's telling feed me, but not for pizza or potato chips or whatever they're eating, but for nutrition. That's why they said that. So the leading form of malnutrition in the world is now obesity. Now, don't think I'm insensitive to this. My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I loved her. She was awesome. Her name was Grace. And 24 years ago, she called me up one day and she said, you know, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. I believe my mom dieted herself to death. 24 years ago, she pretty much did every kind of diet that there was. She'd cut diets out of the National Enquirer. She'd lose 20, gain 25 back. So don't think I'm insensitive to people that are obese. I lived with it. I saw the fat shaming. I went through all the heartbreak of her crying. Why can't I lose weight? All I want to do. That's what she said. Just one. She only wanted one day to be thin. She had no idea what that would look like. So don't think I'm not sympathetic to anybody out there that's struggling, whether you have 10 pounds or 250 pounds to lose, because we got the whole gambit. We have kids as young as 2. Well, my own grandson started on part of this when he was 14 months, once his mom stopped breastfeeding. We have a woman 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. I mean, it's just crazy that, and no golf, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical conditions. So don't hear me say that. But this detox is what we all need to be doing. Now, why would I say that? Well, because there's a new medical syndrome that I have and you have and everybody has. It's called TDOS. T stands for what? Toxins. The D stands for nutritional deficiency in our food, leading to overweight, leading to stress. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. Peter Greenlaw, I guess that's me. I guess I discovered it. I did discover it. So what you have to understand that we didn't know until actually 2005, 20 years ago, that we were storing chemicals in our body. And you're all storing them in your body. No diet has ever touched it. This is not a diet. That's why I keep saying the secret to this, it's not a diet, it's a detox. But the detox is really the ability of our own body to detox. I'll give you all a simple metabolic fact. When you went to sleep last night, as long as you didn't eat too late, once you went to sleep, your body slowed down digestion and automatically began to remove the dead cells from your body. It's called autophagy. It's a detox that happens every single night, period. The researchers said, we think if we could find foods with enough nutrition, but little amount of food, we potentially could replicate autophagy when people are awake. Because the key, listen to me carefully, was when you go to sleep, the body slows down digestion. In some cases, suspends it. And that signals in the brain, okay, let's go ahead and get rid of the dead stuff. That's really what they did. So the 48-hour intermittent nutritional fasting days, it replicates sort of autophagy. But they have the medical proof to back it up. Blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proven that this was assisting the body in removing chemicals. So what diet are you on that's detoxing? What diet are you on that deals with the TDOS syndrome, which most of you didn't even realize was there? Now, how does it impact your weight? Well, I'm going to read to you now the latest science after 20 years of research. Listen to what they're saying about what these chemicals are, why they're causing you to have so much accumulation of fat and weight in your body. The Endocrine Society, the largest organization of experts devoted to research on hormones and the clinical practice of endocrinology, reports that the rise in the incidence in obesity matches the rise in the use and distribution of industrialized chemicals. These chemicals have a name, they call them obesogens. They go on to say, simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal system, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. They enter our body from a variety of sources, from natural compounds found in soy, artificial hormones fed to animals, plastics in food packaging, chemicals added to processed food, and pesticides spread in our produce. They act in a variety of ways, mimicking human hormones such as estrogen. Are you listening, ladies? Blocking the action of other hormones such as testosterone, you listening men, and essentially reprogram us to gain weight. Did you know about obesogens before today? What influences is telling you about obesogens? What influence is telling you about your storing chemicals in your body? I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to make you aware. You can do something about it. Now, can you eliminate all? Of course not. You're not going to get, no, we've been accumulating these chemicals in our body over our whole lifetime. But if you can slow down what the accumulation and get rid of some of them, that's a great, why wouldn't you want to do that? No diet touches obesogens. None, zero, until now. Because this is not a diet, it's a detox. I'd love for someone to just give me a comment. What do you all think about that? I am Fancy Daily. I like that. That's a cool name. Who else? Lots of you are on here. Jennifer, D. Barrett, Les Haters, only 4,000 downs, Fabiola, Baby Doll, Les, Oksana, Michelle, lots and lots of people on here. Look, what magazine was your article in recently? Oh, well, it's not about me, about the protocol. It was actually in Women's World magazine, June 9th. This year, just about 6 weeks ago. And the two women you're seeing on the cover, mother and daughter, they lost 140 pounds combined. The daughter, who's a nurse, she's 57 years old. She lost about 50 pounds in about a little over 3 months. The mom, who's 80, lost 90 pounds in about a year, and they both have kept it off for 3 years. And it's a cover story on the #1 women's magazine in the world about this protocol. I didn't have anything to do with that. And let me find it here. Hold on. Let me show you to answer your question, 4,000 downs. Hold on. I always have trouble opening this damn thing. I don't know why that is. Let's see. Oh, here we go, finally. Okay, there's the article. And you can download this magazine online. It's sold out in the newsstands. New Protein Miracle Diet, where they basically talked about this is what she did, is embarked. So what they really were talking about was what was, published in these 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. So you can go and read about it if you want to. It's an amazing story about, imagine a mom and daughter together collectively losing 140 pounds, both well over 50 years of age. Well, 57 is not well over, but 80 is pretty far over 50, okay? Does that make sense? 4,000 downs? Cool. All right, so who else would like to ask me a question? We have 100 likes. Come on, everybody. My last podcast, I had, what did I have in the last one? 8,000. But it was a lot longer because I've only got I can maybe go another about 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the most. Yes, 4,000 downs. Do you see above her name in blue down? Give me a yes. The New Health Conversation. Do you see that first, 4,000 downs? Give me a yes if you can read it. And then 4,000 downs, what you'll do is go to the web, okay? Type in Google, the new, because that's not a link. You need to get the link. You have to do a Google search, the New Health Conversation. Click, there it is. Click on it. And there's the website and 4,000 downs. There's nothing to buy on that website. Only medical proof, including #1, is an exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss, nutrition, physiologist in the world who created this along with his team. And if you go to that website, 4,000 Downs, we will not contact you. However, if you like what you see, okay, are you out of your mind here? Please expound on misinformation. When you're talking about peer-reviewed human trial medical studies, please, that's one of the most outrageous things I've ever heard. Please tell me what the misinformation is. Because you have to understand the whole point of doing a peer-reviewed human trial study, it passes the scrutiny of the FDA. So either you don't understand what a peer-reviewed human trial study is, and you're just making things up, which you're doing. You have no proof of that whatsoever. This is published, like I said, one of the studies is published in Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. What kind of outrageous claim is that? No, tell me what the misinformation is. I want to know what the misinformation is. You got to understand, when it's a peer-reviewed human trial study, it's irrefutable medical proof. That's the whole idea. That's why you can make a claim. So, Tira, I'm waiting. Come on. Tell me. Let's hear it. Let's hear what your misinformation is. You know what, Tira? You're done. You're gone. See ya. It was nice meeting you, but sorry, you're gone. What an outrageous claim. See, that just shows you someone that's not really up to speed on this stuff. What makes us different is we have the peer-reviewed human trial studies. Nobody else does. Misinformation. What a bunch of nonsense. The nonsense is the misinformation is all the people telling you that calories in, calories out actually works. When we've got people like Harvard Medical School, stop counting calories. What we've been taught is that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500 and you lose a pound. But as it turned out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out, when it comes to weight loss, is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said, it's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. Look, in medical research, the highest standard that the FDA recognizes are peer-reviewed human trial studies. There are lots of people on social media that are making claims. They're called unsubstantiated. They're not backed up by peer-reviewed human trial studies. So despite whatever that person was saying, it's just not true. It's completely false. Misinformation. I mean, when we're talking, well, okay, how about misinformation? How about a study for Medicare? Is that good enough for everybody? Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. Our researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment of obesity. The studies show that 2/3 or more gain more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. That's Medicare saying. Misinformation? I mean, these are medical studies, okay? I mean, it's like arguing that somehow diets work. For example, there's a lot of buzz around this. You don't eat for 16 hours and eat for 8. Well, based on multiple meta-analysis and systematic reviews of human studies, the typical weight loss on time-restricted eating is 1.1 to 3.3 pounds per month. That's not even a pound a week. She lost 21 pounds and 38 inches in 30 days. I mean, that's just the fact. So where's the misinformation? See, it's like that's our problem as a society, that we're so dug in on things that absolutely positively do not work. I mean, from 1990 to 2025, obesity rates have doubled. Does that sound to you like diets are working? I mean, who's promoting what here, right? So anyway, did that make sense, 4,000 Downs? You got that, right? Could this protocol use with? Yes, definitely, 100%. As a matter of fact, let's talk about the GLP-1s right now. And again, I'm not against the shots. They're helping diabetics and helping people that are morbidly obese. But again, when we look at the actual facts, you can all look this up. Talk about false information. The New England Journal of Medicine. It's in the public domain. What's great about what I get to do, everything is in the public domain. So when you talk about misinformation, it's just ludicrous. It's just a ridiculous thing to say. The study was once weekly semaglutide in adults with overweight or obese. So it's a GLP-1, right? It was 68 weeks. Now, I'm not even going to make a comment. I'm just going to read the medical proof. In 68 weeks, the people lost 32 pounds, and 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass. So 68 weeks, 32 pounds. 21 pounds in a month. But look at Curtis, everybody. 40.8 pounds, 52.5 inches in 30 days. 40.8, 52.5 inches in 30 days. Look at his blood work. 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides, 242 to 124. Look, in the studies, for example, they proved that the need for insulin went down 41%. So misinformation, it's published in the biggest medical journals in the world. To get published, their job is to discredit. These researchers had to prove that. They had to show the blood work, the urine, the stool, etc., to prove everything. Nothing is a claim. That's why peer-reviewed human trial studies are so important. And that's why, again, I find it outrageous when someone would say it's misinformation. Well, then you should never take a drug, because every drug goes through the same scrutiny that this protocol went through. So let's review one last time. So how is it possible to lose 5 pounds a week? Actually, a little bit over that, but and 38.75 inches with no exercise. The point is this. Yeah, that's amazing. I agree with you, 4,000 downs. Oh, you mean about the New England Journal of Medicine? Yeah. Is that crazy? And we'll say this, and hear me. I'm not against the shots. If that's going to help someone lose some weight, if that's going to help diabetics, they don't have a choice. They need Ozempic or semaglutide or metformin or glucophage or insulin, of course. I'm not against drugs. Don't everybody hear me say that. All I'm doing is showing you what's in the public records, in the medical research. And then you decide. I'm working with a lot of people that are on the GLP-1s right now, and you know what their biggest fear is? Well, I just told you 40% of what they're losing is lean muscle mass. So they wanted, can they prevent that? So we're working in conjunction with them to, because see, what a GLP-1 does, and maybe you already know this, all of you, but 4,000 downs, it slows down the food moving through your digestive tract. So you're full longer, code word, you eat less food, but you get less nutrition. And I've gone over and over again, I think already this morning on this, but I'll do it one more time. A diet, as you know it, as a traditional diet, at the end of the day, all you're doing is reducing the quantity of food you're consuming. When you reduce the quantity of food you're consuming, you also, you're reducing what? Nutrition. When your brain figures out, this is medical proof, okay? This isn't like, you know, a claim. When you don't have enough nutrition, your brain counteracts that by shutting down the ability of your body to access the fuel in your fat cell, which you should be using, and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's one of the most unhealthy things we could ever do to ourselves. And so what the brain has to do to compensate, because burning a muscle for fuel is really inefficient, right? It's like now you put gas in your car, you're getting 5 miles to the gallon. Your car will still run, but you understand you're not going to go very far. And that's why we became, you know, we keep eating and eating and eating. It's never we need more calories, we need more nutrition. So when the brain senses not enough, not only does it slow down your metabolism, that's why you plateau and gain all the weight back, but I mean, all the studies are saying that 2/3 of the people are gaining more weight than they lost. I just told you, from 1990 until 2025, the obesity rates in this country have doubled. So how could anybody in their right mind think that diets are working? Do what you want. And again, what makes us different is we have the peer-reviewed human trial studies that nobody else has. So in terms of false information, I get it all the time though. So it's not like, hey, okay, that's your opinion. Good, keep your opinion. I'm going to turn you into the FDA. What, for telling the truth? For quoting peer-reviewed human trial studies? Good luck with that. Then you better turn in every drug company that submitted peer-reviewed trials of their drugs, including the GLP-1s. I mean, it's just, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So basically, Fabiola Gorelli, good. All right, so let me briefly go over again what they did. Well, first of all, after 100 studies over 40 years, they never found a diet where people kept weight off long term, because diets are based on counting calories. The body doesn't know what a calorie is. You're just reducing the amount of food. That's the end of the day. You're reducing the amount of nutrition. Your brain burns your muscles for fuel, slowing down your metabolism and your immune system. You're becoming less healthy. It's not my opinion. I've got it right here from the studies. I mean, I read it to you before. Here's what they said about. They said that let's see, these diet approaches, including macro counting, calories in, calories out, deliver pitifully inadequate results. A meager 4 to 10 pounds over 3 to 6 months, a 25 to 50% reduction in lean muscle mass that cripples your metabolism. This isn't my opinion. It weakens your metabolism by 10 to 20%, increasing infection risk up to 20%, triggering a 50% weight regain, and inflicts severe mental health tolls like anxiety, depression, disordered eating, ultimately accelerating the obesity apocalypse rather than halting it. Those aren't my opinions. I mean, this is crazy. Crazy. And what do we keep doing? You're looking for the new diet. Would everyone agree? You don't have to. But for 1990 versus, say, 2025, do you think we have more diets in 2025 than we did in 1990? If any diet worked, all of you, please see if you go along with me. Watch the videos now. Glad I found you live. Great, 4,000 Downs. But 4,000 Downs or Fabiola or let's see, who else? Flora or Married Life Ministries. If any diet worked, how could we? John Hopkins Medical School, I have the study right there. They're projecting in 4.5 years, 86% of Americans will be overweight and obese. They went on to say in 24 years, they say 100% of America is going to be overweight or obese because the trend's going like this. Nothing is stopping. It's like a runaway train. There's no brakes. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And we have people like that coming on and saying, I'm giving false information. No, the false information is anybody thinking that a diet by counting calories works long term. It's nuts. Here's another big study at a meta. Let me read to you from the study. This is a landmark UCLA meta-analysis by Tracy Mann and her colleagues published in the American Psychologist, reviewed 31 long-term studies on calorie-restricted diets and exposed the harsh truth. Here's what they concluded. They concluded that, the analysis concluded that dieting itself predicts future weight gain. Huh? How's that false information? I'm reading. This is one of the top weight loss experts in the world. How can it be false information? Report me to the FDA for reporting the truth. What the heck is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because of the fact this is where we are as a society. I told you before, 2.5 billion people now are overweight in the world, and 1 billion are clinically obese. Does that sound to you like diets are working? Do you want a solution or not? It's right there. Go to the New Health Conversation. See the interview with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He is the one that conducted it. False information, my foot. Listen to what he says. I'm bringing you the news. You may disagree with the news, that's fine, but that's the facts. The facts are the facts. They're saying that every diet out there, 2/3 are going to gain more weight than you lost. And then you see things like this, big rage about this time-restricted eating where you don't eat for 16 hours and you eat for 8. And they're claiming you lose 20 pounds in a month and most of it's fat. Well, what's the real results? Based on multiple, not one study, meta-analysis and systematic reviews of human studies, the typical weight loss on time-restricted eating is 1.1 to 3.3 pounds per month. Wait a minute. She lost 5 pounds a week. Now, how could that be false? That's what she lost. Oh my gosh, I'm having fun now. I really am. So who else would like to ask me a question? Because I really do need to stop in about 5 minutes. So Flora or let's see. Scott on day 10, easy. Great, Scott. Wonderful, wonderful. Someone's actually on the protocol. Flora, yeah, you're... So Scott, if you don't mind, and listen, I have no idea, I don't know who Scott is because we have tons and tons of people and lots of coaches. But Scott, can you share with the audience, right? We don't, I don't think we know each other. Maybe we do, but I've got too much stuff going in my head. So please, Scott, tell them, Are you shocked or surprised at really how easy this is to do? Because I had someone on before, when do you get time to eat 8 meals a day, 8 times a day? Well, do you want to change your life or not? I mean, do you go to the doctor and they give you a prescription and they say, take 3 pills a day? And you said, the hell with that. I'm only going to take 1. I don't have time to take 3 pills. I mean, so it's like a ludicrous statement. People have lost their minds, I think. So Flora, do you understand Florida? That's the website right above her head there in blue, the New Health Conversation. You can, oh, look at, it's not hard. Are you doing it too, Flora? But because I was asking Scott R. I mean, if you are, that's even better. Listen, this is a gift for humanity, everybody. This is a gift for humanity. These researchers didn't give up after 40 years, 100 studies. Never did any diet produce long-term, sustainable weight loss. Everybody lost weight initially. And every person, 25 to 40% of what they were losing was lean muscle mass. That is a fact. That's not a fabrication. So, on day 4, wonderful, 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 Flora. That is so. Flora, who's your coach? I'm just curious. And do you feel so far it's like everything that kind of I laid out or you saw on the website you're actually experiencing? I bet Scott is too. Oh, great, 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 great. Well, you've got one heck of a coach, as you know, and you obviously know about his story that is, I mean, if there is a definition of a miracle, would you say his story is a miracle, Flora? Right, right. But you're getting the nutrition, which has nothing to do with the food, but amazing story, yeah. Scott will be very anxious. So your next weigh-in would be on Tuesday? If you're on day 10, tomorrow would be 10, 11. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your next weigh-in would be tomorrow. You must, if you're on day 10, are you on your second detox day? Is that what you're on, Scott? Correct. Okay, great. Great, great, great. All right, who else would like to ask me a question before I have to close? Now listen, for the people coming on late, I'll come back on again at about 2 Eastern time. I got to go do some things and then I'll be back. But in the meantime, any of you that want to go, that website is completely free. Let me show you again the website. You simply go and type in the New Health Conversation. And there it is. And there's the website. There's nothing to buy there. The only thing there is the medical proof, including #1, an interview with the #1 weight loss researcher in the entire world. And we won't contact you if you go there. We're not doing that. You get to contact us. I'm sure Scott or Flora would back us up. They contacted us after they looked at the medical information because there's no way. There's nothing on that initial website where we can get a hold of you. You give us permission to contact you, which is another cool feature of this whole protocol. All right, everybody, I'm going to leave you now. I'll come back on again at, let's say, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All right? Nobody contacted me. Scott's saying that. See, nobody contacted him. No, you contacted us, Scott, correct? I mean, look, here's the point. With this much exposure, where I've done, just to, not bragging, but I do at least 3 of these podcasts a day, 7 days a week. I've been doing it for a little over a year. So you do 52 weeks times 3 a day. 365, sorry, 365. And lately I've been doing like 5 a day, if my voice holds up. I had to go buy some throat lozenges. I was talking too much. And Scott's saying, just my coach called me. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. And who is your coach, Scott? I'm just curious. I'm nosy, aren't I? I always want to know things. Because I don't have, thank goodness we have really dedicated coaches that are helping people, as Flora was saying there with Dan. Well, it's okay, Scott. You don't have, if you don't have time to type it in, it's good, because I do have to end this. Okay, everybody, I'm going to end this live, and I'll come back on again about 2 o'clock Eastern time today. So I hope this has been helpful to all of you. We got almost 2,000 likes, so I guess something was good. And I do invite any of you, Jandra or Married Life Ministries, or any of you to go to that website, you can see it there. This the link. You type that in Google. Let me show you one last time. You go to Google, you type in the new health conversation, and it'll take you to the website. There's the website. And then it takes you to the website. There's nothing to buy there. We won't contact you if you go there. You contact us. You can scroll down beyond this, and it says free coaching. And guess how much the coaching is, everybody? 0. So I hope you will go there for all of your benefit, okay? Thanks, everybody. I'm going to close this out now and come back on about 2 Eastern time today. Thank you.